Hey, good day, everyone. This is State Representative Brad Halbrook coming to you Gun Shop Live today on New Year's Eve, right about high noon. Guys, I appreciate everybody's patience with us out there. We had planned to go live at noon, thought we'd start early. We've got some new technological devices that we're working through and internet connections. So I think we are back up and running again. We're going to give it a shot here right now to do that. So Brad Halbrook, State Rep from the 102nd. You can find me at bradhalbrook.com on the unofficial side. The official state side is rephalbrook.com. And then Brad Halbrook here on the Facebook with the blue check mark. I'm joined with my colleague from Decatur, Representative Dan Caulkins. Dan's give our folks a little welcome there.
Thank you very much. Well, Dan Caulkins from the 101st House District, just north of Macon down here. We want to come today to talk about all the changes that are going to happen with the FOID and concealed carry laws and how things are going. So we thought we'd come down to the Bullet Trap here in downtown Macon, lovely downtown Macon.
Macon. 7 short miles south of Decatur.
It's a short trip. Dan runs the Bullet Trap. This is his business and is a strong supporter of GSL and all things Second Amendment.
Right.
So we thought today would be a good opportunity to talk about all the changes that are going to start happening tomorrow, particularly with the FOID card and the concealed carry license.
Yeah, right, guys. As you know, you're both heavily involved in supporting the Second Amendment as well, which is much appreciated. And as I always preface everything I do on this, the state police are the ones that get the bad rap for this, but they're just the messengers. I like for everyone to remember that those folks are trying very hard. We're fortunate enough to be able to work fairly closely with them on several occasions, and they're outstanding. They do a great job. And all this is brought to you by the legislature, not the state police. So just so we're all on board with that, they're the messengers.
So Dan, what are we going to see first? But what's going to be the first impact that our gun owners are going to see with this change that's coming?
The first and most immediate one, Brad, will be the ammunition purchases.
Okay.
Those will have to be verified now because the new cards are going to be issued will not have an expiration date. And with no expiration date, we have no way to validate that card. So it'll now have to be done through the state police portal. It'll fall underneath the person-to-person transfer part of that. And they now have a place for the transfers and that one for the ammunition. So we'll be clicking on that link, enter the person's name and their FOID card number, and it will pop back yay or nay. All that is a verification of the FOID card itself is not been denied, revoked, or suspended. So it's just showing us a good card, just like you do when person-to-person gun transfers. So that's the first most immediate thing they're going to see, and that will be starting, Monday. Business.
So do you have any concerns about, will that work? Will you think there'd be any glitches where that might held up? What should we be concerned about when we go to buy ammo?
Well, anytime you get more agencies and more cumbersome procedures involved, there's always that possibility. As Dan brought up earlier, possibly the network itself. We all see the NICS system go down from time to time. That delays gun purchases, but if the state police website would happen to go down to that portion of it, or the computers that provide that information, then we will not make a ammunition cell. So we're going to have to check those each time. That itself is going to be cumbersome for all involved. Ourselves, we'll have to have a computer terminal replace we sell ammunition at, and folks will have to wait while we get the check. Now, normally those are instantaneous. Punch it in, bingo, it comes right back. Everybody's good to go. A couple other areas where I see that being a problem is one is out-of-state purchases. A lot of people do purchase ammo from out of state. Those vendors are going to be required, because the FOID card you'll be sending them, which they want proof of, a copy of, will not have an expiration date moving forward. So those, I don't know what the vendor's going to do about that. They either have to come into the Illinois State Police portal and check it or not. It's not an Illinois state law. They may or may not comply with. I don't know what's going to happen. But that's going to be some problems for purchasing ammunition out of state. And I thought at one point I'd brought up an issue. I was afraid that this might be a problem for the CCL on traffic stops out of state. But I was assured they have access to a system that will show all that. It should not affect the CCL carriers out of state if you are stopped by somebody, for those states that recognize the Illinois CCL.
Right.
So that's a couple of concerns I had.
So my FOID card doesn't expire until 2029, but my concealed carry card expires in 2024.
Right.
So, and I think this is probably going to be pretty typical. that
True.
the vast majority of people have a card with an expiration date.
Absolutely. Everyone does at this point.
And so when I go to renew my concealed carry license in 2024, what happens?
You will receive a new, it'll be a FOID card, basically with the CCL endorsement up in the upper right-hand corner. You'll just have CCL up there. That shows you're a licensed CCL carrier. So but you'll just have the single card. There'll be no issue date. There'll be no expiration date on it. So, that's going to be a little bit different to folks. But yeah, you will get that when you renew your CCL. If you don't, you may get it prior to that. They're going to try to play catch up and just start issuing new cards as well, but that's going to take a while.
Now they can't even issue. I mean, we're still bogged down.
Well, as of
catching up.
As of yesterday, and this is something that, the state police need to be commended for, all FOID cards and CCL applications with fingerprints are now in the statutory limits. They're within the 90 day limits. So all those are meeting statutory limits right now for new issues. The next pile is the CCLs, renewals, and those without fingerprints.
Right.
And then they're starting the furthest ones out and start working their way up on that. This is just my opinion, but I think by March, you're going to see almost everybody caught up on this. They revamped the system back in June. They changed the parameters and how they did all this, and it's really, really expedited it. But there is a big advantage now, in my opinion, of getting fingerprinted. A lot of folks did on the CCL. As we progressed through this further, there didn't seem to be any real advantage to it time-wise, but there is now. And the reason that will be an advantage, and the whole reason they don't have an expiration date on the FOID card going forward, is now you get an auto renewal on your FOID. And what this boils down to, if you have just a FOID card, if you make a gun purchase in that 10-year period that it's valid for, it'll automatically renew your FOID card.
At no charge.
At no charge. Yep. And just automatically, it won't change your card. You won't get a new card, but in the state police computer, it will show that new expiration date. That's for every background check you get. If you have a CCL combo FOID card, and which is what you'll have if you have a CCL, every time you renew your CCL every 5 years, it will auto renew your FOID card at no charge. So that is an advantage, but you do need fingerprints to get that done, to get into that process.
So if you have a FOID card and it's good for 10 years and you're getting in there and you want to renew your FOID card, the best thing to do is come to the bullet trap and buy a pistol.
That'd be great. That's required.
That should have been part of the bill. You go down there to the bullet trap and buy a weapon.
But yeah, if you do get a federal background check through the NICS system, and of course that goes through ISP in Illinois, automatically renew your FOID card. So
can you get a background check through the system without purchasing?
Yes, absolutely. That's a kind of a misunderstanding. Everyone thinks when we do that ISP background check that's recorded or logged or some other way that they know you purchased a gun. That's not true. All they're giving us is permission to sell you a firearm for the next 30-day period if you get approved. And they never know if you completed the purchase or not. So none of that's kept. All that information stays with the FFL to fill out that 4473 and retained in our records. They have access to them, if they're doing gun crates or something like that, but it's not sent to the state police or the NICS system, either one. It's merely a background check to see if you're legal.
So that's the immediate effect for FOID cards and concealed carry card holders.
Yep.
There's also going to be a change starting Monday on firearm transfers between individuals.
Yeah. Starting Monday on that one, at this point, you could do a person-to-person transfer, and you just merely kept each other's paperwork, and you had to get state police approval for other FOID card proving the validity of it. And they would issue you a serial number, and you jotted that down, but you both kept the record. Okay. Starting as Monday, that's still pretty much going to be the same, but then you're going to be required now. And this, I'm into some territory here, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with is how they're for sure. But as I understand it, you will have to send that information. You'll have 10 days to send a copy of that to the FFL. The buyer will. The seller has to keep the record for 10 years. The buyer would no longer have to keep the record, but have to send a copy of it to the FFL to keep for a 20-year period.
And today, the buyer keeps the record. If I
Right.
go to Brad,
Mhm.
Brad says, oh, I want to buy your shotgun.
Mhm,
I
correct.
said, well, show me your FOID card.
Yeah.
And Brad whips out his FOID card and it's not expired.
Mhm.
It's legitimate. There's a form that I have to fill out
Correct.
on that sale
Right.
and keep it for 10 years
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
And in the future,
I'm not sure of the date that's going to actually take place, but
right.
yeah, in the future, you will have to do the same, the seller will have to do the same thing.
Okay.
The
So
buyer will
still-
not have to keep that record,
but
he will have 10 days afforded to an FFL to keep it for 20 years.
okay, so I give him a copy of the form that I download from the state police, and he in turn sends it to you or to any other FFL,
Mhm.
and there's a cost that's
It's
associated.
It's capped at $25.
So the maximum that you'll have to pay is
Right.
$25. It doesn't have to be 25.
No, doesn't have to be in it, but look, and the FFLs do not have to take it either. That's strictly up to their choice. They do not have to participate in this because we're
Right.
kind of removed from it,
Mhm.
you know, in a sense.
Right.
Or as I understand it, going forward at some point, there'll be a state police portal where they can send it to them. But it will be kept somewhere either by Illinois State Police or FFL for the 20-year period.
Okay.
So those are going to be.
So those are two of the changes.
Yeah, and but I'm not sure when for certain that's implemented.
How they're gonna get that done.
Yeah, exactly. The website's not set up for it yet.
Right.
That's down the road a little bit.
And then we have the online concealed carry FOID card. We're going to be able to put that, instead of carrying a plastic card,
Correct.
or if you lose your wallet or whatever,
Correct.
Have a digital version.
you'll have a
Yeah,
digital version.
Okay.
That's not there yet, to my understanding.
That's part of this new
It's
bill.
Part of the new bill, and it's going to be one of the requirements they meet.
Just a question I've got.
Sure, Brad.
You know, as far as going to this single card, are they just going to start going through the list and issuing single cards, or will there be a hierarchy? If one card comes due before the other, you get a single card, or what do we know about that?
Well, not a lot.
Okay.
Then my conversation, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. First of all, any renewals of either the FOID or the CCL will bring on the new card
Right.
automatically.
Right.
Okay. And then they're going to play catch up and go back through the system. I don't know whether they start the back or the front or where they're going to do this, but they'll go ahead and just start randomly issuing the cards for those that's got the others out there because they want to get rid of all the expiration dates. That's the whole plan.
Right.
So that's going to be transpiring over the next couple of years, I would presume, because, you know, it's just so many of them. There's no way they can do it in a short
Well,
period of time.
And then politically, the real answer is cut this thing up and get rid of the FOID card.
Void the void.
I couldn't agree.
I mean, this is a huge, huge administrative problem.
It is. David.
Before we ever get to the Second Amendment, and we're not, you know, we all, I think, agree that this is an
Yeah.
infringement,
Yeah.
and we're fighting these things out in court. But just think about how cumbersome and costly it is
Mhm.
to issue a FOID card, monitor a FOID card, renew a FOID card
At the $10 level. now,
at the
we
$10.
successfully
Right.
succeed ourselves on that
But-
one.
But just from the administrative purpose of what we're trying to do in Illinois,
Mhm.
the issues that we're going to have, and I've talked to the Illinois State Police and I've expressed my concerns about their portal,
Mhm.
how secure it is, what happens
Well,
if it gets
it
hacked.
has been hacked once
It's
already.
already been hacked, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens if it gets overwhelmed?
Mhm.
Everybody, you know, I mean, I don't know how many people buy ammunition every hour of the day or every minute of the hour.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
ammunition sales are going on all the time.
constantly, yes.
And so what happens if all of us, you know, there's 20 people querying the FOID card portal? And at what point, how can it handle this? And I haven't gotten an answer for that. Those things concern me. I was told that an inquiry does not trigger any other action.
No background check. You mean for the FOID inquiry.
But they don't know.
That's all self-internal.
Yeah, but I mean, I asked them, I said, so can you tell me how many times my FOID card has been checked,
Mhm.
and they can't.
Yes.
They don't know. They have no way of knowing. The only thing they know is how many checks have been entered into the system. They don't know that they've checked my FOID card or Brad's FOID card, but they know that there's been an inquiry.
But the system is there to track that.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
in place. And here's another thought, Dan, that you brought up a very good point on the FOID card. If a firearm purchase is adequate for FOID card renewal,
Right.
why do we have the FOID card?
Right.
Because you have to go through the background check to purchase a firearm. Isn't that the whole reason for it?
Exactly.
Right.
So why do we even have it if that's going to be an auto renewal? I mean,
Well, hopefully these are some arguments that we'll be able to use in the courts if this is what it takes. Another political comment, Brad, change of administration.
Change of administration can
2022.
change this around dramatically a year from now or
A year
13 months from
things
now.
Could be different.
Right.
And hopefully.
Elections matter, and we've got one of those coming up in November the 8th.
Exactly.
So this is an important issue that affects, was there over 3 million FOID card holders in the state of Illinois?
Yep.
And less people than that? Well, about
400,000 on the concealed carry now. I think.
400,000. Okay,
I think
yeah.
that's where they're at.
Hey, I had a commenter here or a question on the Facebook. So will there be an expiration date on the digital copy?
Not to my knowledge, no.
That's all, it's just all going to go
It's all
away?
going to be, all going to go away. State police will have the digital date, and supposedly they will either contact you by you sign the accounts now, you have to give them a phone number for authentication. And they'll contact you by that number, the email that you have to furnish, or snail mail.
On renewals.
On renewals, but they will send you that. You won't know unless you keep track of it yourself, but it will not be anywhere on the card.
Right.
That's another problematic issue. What are you going to do with those people that go by it and don't realize it? You know how that goes.
That's why we're encouraging to come to the bullet trap.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, again, another commenter here talks about how many people were killed in Chicago this year.
Yeah.
Of course, way many more than that shot.
Yeah.
Wonder how many, could we bet the farm on how many of those had FOID cards?
Absolutely zero would be my guess. Pretty much so.
That's a pretty good guess, I'm
There
sure.
again, only regulates the law abiding.
Right. So
That's what all that's
it
gonna
hampers
do.
our ability to exercise our Second Amendment right. There's nothing else that's regulated to this extent.
There's no upside to it. No, there really is.
There's no upside. So this is clearly not helping control the issue in the city. It's just making it worse for law-abiding citizens. So
More cumbersome.
But they have come out with a solution in Chicago now. Here, if you wear a whistle
Yes.
and charge the perk with that whistle,
Exactly.
right.
all you're running is blowing your whistles, they'll take care of everything.
Yeah.
We advocated for that.
Did you?
Well,
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. No, well, it's just Darwin. There's a Darwin factor there.
Yes, sir.
Now, we would tell people, I used to go fishing up in Alaska, the bears were an issue because they wanted your fish, or they were fishing where you were fishing.
Yeah, you were taking their food.
Yeah.
Right.
So we told people when they went out in the woods to walk around to take a whistle or a little bell. And if they got into a confrontation with a bear, to blow the whistle or to ring the bell.
So you could run the other direction.
Well, then they'd ask you, well, how do you know if there's any bears in the area? And we go, well, you look for their pile of dung and see if there's a whistle or a bell in there.
And if it's still steaming, it was recent.
You probably lost a friend.
Gave the whistle.
So I had a question here also, Dan, about the cost of concealed carry. So that still remains every 5 years. They have to renew every 5 years.
Exactly.
No change there.
No change
And then
there.
was there a change in the cost of the concealed carry renewals or new, or that stays the
I've seen
same?
yet or they're aware of.
Okay.
Besides taking away the service fee they've been charging.
Okay.
Because they lost that or.
Okay.
From that. But, the one good thing about, the FOID card no longer costs you.
Right. So that
You're
went
still gonna
away.
have it. That has went away with the auto renewal.
That's it. This has been really interesting to watch politically in Springfield.
Mhm.
Well, we're not going to charge you for your FOID card. Well, we're going to put it online for you.
Yeah.
We're going to make it an automatic renewal.
Oh,
But then,
by the way, no person-to-person transfers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, in order to buy ammunition, you're going to have to query. the
Now we had
state
an
police.
additional step
And in
with
order
that.
to do this, those things, they weren't adequately explained
Right.
during the debate.
Right.
In fact, my discussions with the director during the debate, a lot of these things weren't even brought up.
we briefly discussed 2024, which
Right.
my intel says is coming with person-to-person transfers will no longer be valid. We'll have to do them person-to-person at an FFL. You know, that was part of fix the Floyd. It was fought so readily.
Right.
And now we find out apparently got included in the Floyd Modernization Act. And this is the first I've seen of it. So
This is the first time we've heard of it. And
it seems to me things were in there that none of us really saw coming.
Yeah, the devil's always in the details in Springfield. It's never
Exactly.
fully
Well,
explained.
thank you,
And when you have these several 100-page bills a lot of times, and they come out in the dark of the
Give you
night.
2 hours to read it or an
Yeah,
hour.
it's just an insane way to run a government.
as I recall, this bill did run at night, because I remember calling the director while we were debating this on the House floor.
Right.
And he took the phone call, and I think it was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night
Yeah,
when this bill was being debated,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Good.
is something.
Any closing thoughts, Dan, we need to know before we close out here?
No, you know, it's here again, it's just, Illinois State Police is a messenger on this.
Okay.
They may have some input, I don't know, but they've been very well to work with for us. We've been very impressed with. And the other thing I'd like to throw out there quickly, so I guess I can, for you to make a political commentary very quickly,
Right.
is these two gentlemen have both been great to work with, great Second Amendment supporters. And they both work very closely with Darren Bailey, and who I think should be our next governor. And we need to fire Pritzker, and I think it'd be great. So
Thank you.
I support you guys,
Thank
Tim,
you.
and I hope it all goes well for us.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for hosting us here today on
Our
New
pleasure.
Year's Eve at high noon to do this deal. So I thought we needed to, this was a important subject we needed to kind of talk about for a few minutes here
Yeah, me
before
too.
the law changes. So, and again, feel free to call here, call myself or Representative Caulkins or any other local gun shop that you like to deal with.
Absolutely.
So with that, Representative Caulkins, any closing comments or?
Thank you. I wish everybody a happy new year. Stay safe, stay healthy. All the best in 2022. It's going to be a very interesting year politically,
Mhm.
and also I think socially, as this election, we come in November. We've got a big election in November.
Very pivotal year.
Very pivotal year.
Yeah.
You know, we hope that all of you watching, particularly those of you that have a FOID card, concealed carry card, pay close attention to what's going on, because the people that you vote for, the people you send to Springfield have a big say in how all this turns out.
Exactly. Dan, and where can they find you? What, dancaulkins.com?
Yeah, dancaulkins.com is an easy way to do it. 217-876-1968 is the office.
Oh, that's a
We'll
great
be
year.
back up and running Monday.
All right. And guys, again, appreciate you tuning in. We're probably going to go Facebook Live a whole bunch this spring. And a little programming note, we were scheduled to be in Springfield starting on Tuesday every week up until Palm Sunday weekend, 3, 4, 5 days, but they've already, as of yesterday morning, I think, started canceling days. We're only going to be scheduled, or we're only going to go in on Wednesday next week for 1 day, and potentially the next week is to be canceled. But again, click our notifications on our respective Facebook pages, and so that when we do go live, you'll get those notices. And we're going to try to keep you up to date with the very latest and breaking news. Again, thank you all for tuning in here on this New Year's Eve day. And again, Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you soon.